real quality of a company is, of course, the test on how well things are going when things go well. But the real test is how do we respond when things go wrong?
Things went wrong on March 23, 2005, as workers at the Texas City plant were starting up the isomerization unit.
This time, regretfully and with shock, I have to report to you that there have been some fatalities.
15 people died in an explosion and fire. 170 more were injured. Workers talked about their exceptional degree of fear.
It's the first time you learned there were serious safety concerns at BP?
23rd of March 2005.
Before that, you had no idea that there was a risk of catastrophic injury?
No, I think had I been aware that we could have had a catastrophic failure, we would have taken action earlier.
There was apparently a decision made to advise the various business unit leaders at the various refineries to cut their fixed operational budgets another 25%. Do you know anything about that?
No, not specifically.
I don't know if they realized just how devastating the cost-cutting ethos was when it actually played out in the field. When there's a whisper at the top of the company, it becomes like a shout at the bottom.
BP gets it, and I get it too. This has happened on my watch, and as chief executive, I have a responsibility to learn from what has occurred.
A year after the explosion in Texas City, there were problems on another front. Alaska. In March 2006, 260,000 gallons of oil leaked from a pipeline.
Information had been brought forward by the corrosion technicians and other employees to management.
We get a nice answer back, but no action.
The potential for a corrosion-related rupture was significant. And lo and behold, in March of '06, it proved to be true.
As it turned out, they weren't doing enough what they call pigging, which is putting through a metal thing, they call it a pig, that clears the sediment from the pipes. This was an actual cost cut. They figured they didn't need to do it as often, and they'd be just fine.
The pipe had not been pigged for nearly a decade. 5 months after the spill, Lord Brown arrived to personally inspect the pipelines. He was assured that the leak was an isolated incident. 2 days later, there was another spill.
BP is in crisis mode after severe pipeline corrosion forced the company to shut down its Prudhoe Bay field in Alaska. Is the pipeline corrosion in Alaska just the latest example of bad luck for the company, or are there serious management issues for BP?
By 2006, BP's most promising oil fields were here in the Gulf of Mexico.
They had found a lot of oil in the Gulf, and they were feeling like on top of the world.
Thunder Horse, which towers 43 stories above water, was BP's showcase platform. Thunder Horse toppled over.
The storm is not really the cause of why that thing almost flipped. It's because the check valve was installed backwards, okay? And all that was probably caused by being in a hurry and not dotting their I's and crossing their T's in this case.
You had Texas City, you had Alaska, you had the problems at Thunder Horse. I think the first 1 or 2 incidents, people were able to say, well, you know, everybody's had these accidents, but after a while, so many things mount up that you got to wonder, is there a deeper systemic problem?
We diagnosed the following: a company that was too top-down, too directive, and not good at listening. And we failed to recognise we're an operating company. We had too many people that did not understand what it took to run operations.
This is about a fundamental lack of leadership and management in the area of safety.
Safety remains our #1 priority, and I'm pleased to report we can see clear progress.
Every indication was that the well that blew out, it was already 10 million over, and to get caught doing a remedial cement job and going back in there and doing all this work was another 10 million, and it was going to impact them. So they were cutting corners on an operation side, trying to get by with less.
Don't you feel any sense of responsibility for these decisions?
I'm not a cement engineer, I'm afraid.